We both looked at each other and we said, gee, this isn't right. We're out in the middle of nowhere, basically. And where did this come from? I'm Acadia Einstein, and this is Strangeful Things.
Sheltering in place is not advised, as your survival cannot be ensured in that scenario.
Well, this practically caused me to just get you destroyed.
Unsolved, unresolved, and super complicated.
Strangeful Things.
Welcome, everyone, to Strangeful Things. I'm here with Mel's and Chewy, as always, and we're here to talk about a goddamn mystery. So why don't you guys solve the mystery of how your week has been?
Well, I got a mystery of my own, and it didn't come to my attention until after last week's episode. But that is not, in fact, the word meatballs in that TikTok.
Really?
Really. And this whole time I was imagining a big pan of meatballs and how I would love to have the meatballs. It, like I said, it rekindled my love for meatballs. And then I realized it's meatpon or something like that. And I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I know.
What is it?
And it's like meepaw.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. What the fuck is jus? It must be French.
I think it's meatpon. Like maybe it's some type of delicacy dish that I'm too uncultured to know about.
I don't think there are such things, Mels.
Oh, you are such a sweetheart. But
aren't I though? I am.
It will always be meatballs in my mind. So
that's right. What about your meatballs, Chewy?
Well, my meatballs, my fresh and new and whatever else was supposed to do for the week is my office.
Yay!
A few months ago, my basement got flooded, fucked up my life, and they finished the work last week, moved my stuff back, and I am now in my fresh new basement office with new floor and walls painted and all that shit.
Wow.
And it's pretty sweet.
Congratulations.
Why, thank you.
Well, mine was, I had that big job interview, part 73. And so now I don't know what's going to happen. So maybe by next time we have a show, I'll either be in a really good mood or pissed as shit.
Uh-oh. Hopefully
so
it's a good mood.
So you'll be in a really good mood or normal.
Yes. I'll be in a good mood or normal. That's exactly right. And we had the ass end of that hurricane filled my pool all up. So tomorrow I'm going to have to drain some of the water out of it.
And it's going to be cold.
Yep. Pool time's over.
Aww.
Fall has arrived.
I had everything ready to cover mine on freaking Sunday, and then I go to the pool place and, oh, sorry, due to COVID, we don't have any winterizing kits yet.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Well, everybody blames everything on COVID. Like, oh, sorry, I'm late for mowing the lawn. COVID.
We gave you the wrong meatballs because of COVID.
So did we overcook that steak? Well, COVID.
Yep. I had to social distance myself away from the steak, so I couldn't get it in time. This week, we're going to talk about what happens when you go touching things that should not get touched. It also happens to be one of the few episodes we've ever done whose title could also be the name of a sports team, the Oakville Blobs.
Go Blobs! Yeah, that mascot would be so cute. Just a little darling little blobby.
Well, I think we should make merchandise for the Oakville Blobs like it was like a sports team or something. Because we need to expand our reach, all right? Regardless of Acadia's speech about keeping on point last week. Fictitious teams are huge these days. Look at all the stuff you can get for the Miskatonic University.
That's real.
Or even Liberty University. I know, I was throwing Liberty in there.
Zing.
Ba-boom. I mean, This would be in addition to all the other fine products that we already have for sale in places we never even tell anybody about.
Yeah, that's true. We really should make one of those link trees that smart people make so people can see all our shit in one spot. Also, score for us having a marketing meeting at the beginning of the show instead of doing the actual show.
The actual show.
That's patreon.com/strangeful, people.
You whore.
Hey, we need to pay for things, you know.
All right, so you're a desperate whore.
Your words can't hurt me. But what can hurt me is stuff falling out of the sky and landing on my head. And that's what we're talking about tonight. And before you interrupt me, yes, it's also about touching things you shouldn't touch, like I said before. Hey, Mel's, remember on the first season of Castle Rock where we kept laughing that What's-Her-Face kept touching and tasting the goo that showed up from time to time that turned out to have no bearing on the story whatsoever?
Yep, that Jackie Torrance sure did like touching stuff and tasting blood and stuff.
Ugh, Jackie Torrance. Well, it's a bad habit to get into. Did you guys ever touch anything you shouldn't have touched? And you must answer truthfully.
Well, I never set my finger in a socket or anything like that. But yeah, well, the biggest thing I can think of is just like my grandmother had a lot of little tchotchkes, and I always used to want to play with them and touch them. And she would always get me with a fly flap. So that's like the word.
What?
Yeah.
Get you with a what?
With a fly flap. Yeah.
What's that?
A fly flap that you kill flies with.
A fly swatter?
A fly flap. That's what we call it where I'm from.
Okay, I thought you were saying flap.
No,
yes, I thought too.
A fly.
Those words sound identical.
Yeah, that sounded exactly like flap.
It's a fly flap.
Yeah, that sounded like fly flap.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What do you want me to do? I can't help the way I was raised.
I don't know. Be from America.
I am from America.
I know. Like a whole different country down in Georgia.
Oh my God, a fly flapper.
What?
You don't flap them.
You do flap them with the flapper.
Keep on flapping the flies.
Now your flapping has a whole new meaning to it.
You're infringing on Chewy's gimmick.
That's right.
No one consulted me before
I already
that.
said my clothes.
I would have told you that directly kind of goes hand in hand with a fly flap.
I swear to fuck. You're saying flap.
No, I'm not.
You do it on purpose just to mess with me.
A flat flap is a flat flap. I'm talking about a fly flap.
It's like that dress that's either one color or the other color, depending on how you see it.
Oh, my God. And there's a shoe, too, that's like that, in case y'all didn't know.
Yeah, there was a shoe that came out, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't as big a hit.
Well, Scott pulled the shoe thing out the other day, and he was like, what color is this? And I was like, we've been through this. I see pink and white. He sees blue and gray or whatever. So we got Wildcat in on it, and he was like, that's blue. And I was like, get both of you get out of my life forever.
Or I flap you.
Before I flap you.
I touched poison ivy. That was ill-advised.
Yeah, that's never that's never advised.
No, it was bad. But that's about it.
I don't think I ever really just touched anything I wasn't supposed to.
Well, no, I mean, it could also be regret.
Oh, boy. I have a lot of regrets.
We'll do that for the Patreon.
Yeah,
Things I wish I hadn't
We'll
touched.
save that for later.
Yeah. So I've been legit interested in weird shit falling out of the sky for quite a while because it is really good for listicles, which is basically all I consume on the internet now. So let's run down a few and everyone just comment when you feel it is warranted.
Okay. In 1969, local residents of Punta Gorda, Florida, reported dozens and dozens of golf balls littering the streets after a heavy downpour. The best guess anyone has is that a water spout sucked them out of a golf course water hazard. That seems likely, though it would be more fun if it was a terrible supervillain had dropped them from a blimp.
All right. Now, are all of these going to be stuff sucked up by a cyclone and dumped somewhere else?
Well, that's kind of a safe bet for the fish, the iguanas, the frogs, and the spiders. But since you just wiped out like half my list, Miss Smartass, you can decide from best to worst out of those things which one you would want to have fall on your face while you were sleeping outside. And we will say that you have your mouth open. So fish, iguana, frog, spider.
All right. Best would be an iguana because they're larger, so it would just fall on my face and not in my mouth.
All right.
Next would be a fish. Then a frog, and the absolute worst thing in the world would be a spider. I fucking hate spiders. I don't want to see them. I don't want to know they even exist.
I love spiders.
If you kill a spider,
so
it makes
good.
it rain. What was that movie way back at the beginning of the show? Like, I mean, way, way, way back. We were talking, there was a movie where this woman was sleeping and this ghost voice went, "Open your mouth."
Ew.
And she did, and then it went wider. And when she opened it, a big fat spider fell out of the ceiling and dropped right into her mouth.
Jesus.
I can't remember the name.
I'm never going to sleep tonight. Thanks a lot. Oh my God.
Sleep on your stomach.
Oh, Jesus.
Face in a pillow.
That's what they thought too when I shared that little movie trivia.
I can't even my palms are. I'm sweating right now.
And you can feel the little prickly hairs on your tongue.
Stop. I'm serious.
Okay.
This is an aside, but I went into Spirit Halloween, and you know how they have all their animatronics like set up and you can step on them and see what they do. Well, they got sneaky this year, and they're kind of like semi-hidden a little bit. So I was just walking around, and I stumbled upon the jumping spider and almost shit my pants in the middle of the damn Spirit Halloween.
Nice.
Oh.
They're prepared for that.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I screamed in my mask and everything, and it was like, all these kids looking at me, and I was like, fuck you. Get out of my face.
Get out, you little bastards.
All right, let's get back on track here, people.
Yeah, that's right.
There is a city in northwestern Spain called Zamora that rains blood. Well, blood rains on the city, or rain falls on the city and is red from microalgae spores that get trapped in the rain clouds? Yeah, I guess that's more likely.
Well, but it looks like blood.
Yeah.
So it totally counts. Now, in 2018, the sky in Siberia could have fucking killed you because a plane filled with gold, platinum, and diamonds spilled its cargo while taking off from an airport in Yakutsk. So basically, a dragon.
Oh, go on. Never mind.
No, where?
No, never mind.
Isn't Yakutsk in Risk?
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yes, that's what I thought when I read it. But anyway, as far as the story is concerned, a dragon's treasure from D&D fell out of the sky and landed around the airport.
Could you imagine just being like killed by a falling diamond? I mean, of all things.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like embedded in your forehead or something.
Yeah. And they're like, well, she's dead, but I got to get this diamond out of here. That's precious.
We got to pull this thing out of here.
Yeah.
It must have been hit by ice. Because it's gone by the time the cops get there.
Oh.
Well, that's some
nice
monkey's
bullet.
paw wish level bullshit right there. Wish for some gold and get brained by a big bar of it while you're walking out of an airport strip club.
So, hold on, because I'm looking to see if there's any Siberian strip joint that has a website. You can just edit this part out while I'm like, holy fucking shit, Russia, you're fucked up. Get this. From the British tabloid The Sun. Kids watching horror as stripper's decapitated head and blood-soaked body are thrown from 12th floor flat window.
Wow, Jesus.
You told us this was going to be a light week, you fuck.
Yeah, I know, but technically we're still on topic because this counts as something that fell from the sky.
12 floors is not the sky.
Poor soul. She was 19 and she worked for a place called Zajigalka, which is a chain of clubs across Russia. So I did find a Russian strip joint that has a website. Also, this quote from the story is good journalism. Police said a murder probe had been launched. I'm going to bet that the probe found out it was her boyfriend who they found in the apartment that her clothes and head and body flew out of. But we can't get bogged down in solving this crime. We got to go back to the sky.
Yeah, I'll make it quicker for you. Boiled bats, meat, pieces of space stations, and shit like that. Money, and my own personal favorite, Cremora.
All right. Well, you got to tell me about the Cremora, but then we need to move along.
All right. Again, this was 1969, but this time it was Chester, South Carolina. And a factory that made Cremora had faulty air vents. The vents let the creamer waft into the sky, and when it rained, there was a big gooey mess.
Wow. So a big gooey mess that was anticlimactic. Hello.
And just to show that big companies always suck, Borden, the parent company, took 22 years to pay the $4,000 fine it owed for letting its cream out into the city.
Oh.
It's a pretty sexy sounding case.
That's what she said.
That's a lot of cream hitting that city.
Any thoughts on that or the meat or anything regarding the subject of shit falling out of the sky?
I mean, boiled bats?
Yep.
Who's boiling
no follow-up
bats?
questions on that, though.
Oh, okay. Because, Jesus, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I just read a sad story in the news, and I'm probably going to cut it out, but I want to say it anyway. Did you see the thing about the birds out west?
No.
That
With
because
the
of
fire?
all the forest fires,
Yeah.
their migration path from Canada to Mexico is blocked. So they're being forced inland where it's just fucking desert, and they're basically flying till they die and just hitting the ground, and that's it.
It's sad.
Like they said, they picked them up. They're just bones and feathers when they get them.
Oh.
That's great. Everything's awful.
No.
Yeah, the world is shit,
2020
as you like to say. Yeah,
Jesus
2020 is
Christ.
the worst.
Oh, by the way, the boiled bats, it was an Australian heat wave.
Oh, so they
that's some
burned
heat
up to
wave.
death?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But boiled was in quotation marks, so I don't know.
Well, they boiled to death from the heat.
Yeah, I'm not. Ugh, Jesus.
What are bats doing out in the heat? Aren't they like in caves during the day?
They were hot.
No.
It was probably too hot in the cave.
It was hot in the cave.
I said, yes. But now stop being sexy and talking about hot caves. We got to move. No more goo. Well, no, actually, the whole thing is
There's going to be
All right.
lots more goo.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So if you guys are done distracting me, we can get to the Oakville Blobs.
Like it's our
They were
fault, Nels.
They were a scrappy AAA club out of Oakville, Washington. No, not really. The town of Oakville is a ways outside Olympia, Washington, and had a whopping 684 people in it, according to the 2010 census.
Wow.
It was incorporated in 1905 and was by all accounts a normal town. Normal if you like rain, and positively awesome if you're an umbrella salesman, because it rains in Oakville 275 days a year.
Jesus.
Maybe that's why the population is so low. People are always fucking bummed out because they can't go outside.
Like,
So
seriously?
they're all like staring at the knife going, oh, it's raining again.
Listen, I am going to flip my shit if we can't go outside soon. Oh, and that's all I got to say about that.
Well, you can all you want, but you would have been and you would have been fly flapping for a different reason if you were roaming the streets of Oakville in the wee hours of the morning on August 7th, 1994. because it started pouring. As we just noted, that is not out of the ordinary, but this was because the rain wasn't rain at all. It was little blobs of goo jelly.
What the fuck is goo jelly?
It is a jelly-like, goo-like substance.
Oh,
now, I know
thank you for that.
you are probably confused because you know an actual person named Goo.
What?
I have a friend from high school whose nickname was Goo. And to be honest, I don't even know why. So,
See?
Was he gooey?
he was pretty gooey. He threw up on Acadia once.
What?
He didn't he throw up on you?
Oh, yeah, he did.
I
forgot
Oscar
about
Mayer
that.
baloney.
That was a great trip. I got thrown up on, and we got in a car accident.
We got in a car accident. My friend rear-ended me and fucked up his car because we were fucking around at the park.
And I
wasn't
actually
letting
got
him
whiplash.
pass me, and he fucking I think everybody in the back of my Samurai that day did.
Ugh.
Wait, did he throw up chicken wings, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with my homie. Yeah.
Yes. Look. Now, Mel's gimmick is TikTok. She's gonna fit a TikTok into every episode.
That's right.
So, we're gonna get fired. This is our own show, and we're gonna get fired because we haven't told the story. All right. This goo started falling on a cop car, and according to Officer David Lacey, who was interviewed by Unsolved Mysteries, we turned our windshield wipers on, and it just started smearing to the point where we could almost not see. We both looked at each other and we said, gee, this isn't right. We're out in the middle of nowhere, basically. And where did this come from? He went on to say, the substance was very mushy, almost like if you had Jell-O in your hand. You know, you could pretty much squish it through your fingers. We knew it wasn't something we would normally see because we had never experienced it before. We had some bells go off in our heads that said, basically, this isn't right. This isn't normal. Quite a detective, this
playing
guy.
with it.
Yeah.
Right?
You could squish it through your fingers.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at how squishy it is.
Now, the reports also said that he was with a civilian friend, so that seems fishy, but I don't have any other corresponding information. I don't trust any small-town cop after the Jennings 8. But what did he do that we foreshadowed already?
He fingered the goo.
That's right. Give that girl a vape cigar or whatever the equivalent prize for her would be because he touched it. And he wasn't the only one. Sonny Barclift, who lived on a farm in Oakville, confirmed that it was a downpour of goo. Some reports noted it covered 20 square miles and the blobs were about half the size of a grain of rice. And she touched them. And what's more, her mom got put in the hospital for being dizzy and nauseated. Hey, did you know, speaking of that, if you want to be a douchebag, you can point out that when people say nauseous, they mean nauseated. That really makes them feel better. If they're already sick. Anyway, Sonny, her mom Dottie, and their friend all touched the blobs and then felt sick.
Weird.
Now, the Killjoy doctor who examined Dottie said it could have been an inner ear condition that was making her dizzy. And I know a thing or two about that because Joe has vertigo, which means the crystals in your inner ear that make sure you know which way is up break loose and rattle around in your head, which causes dizziness and nausea. And I'm very sure that she never touched any goo rain.
Huh.
Was it just the one blob storm?
Nope. According to reports, it happened 6 times in 3 weeks, and it either did or did not kill Barcliff's kitten, who also touched it, though the kitten apparently may or may not have had medical problems before that.
All right.
Oh, yeah, and this is America, so we don't care if people had pre-existing conditions.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, okay, so did the goddamn goo blobs hurt or not?
Well, before we get to that, let's discuss goo in more depth.
Oh, God.
Do we really have to?
What do you think it could be based on the description of tiny little blobs of translucent goo that was sort of sticky-ish?
Okay, well, could be alien jizz.
Yeah, that's we'll put that in the maybe column.
Well, I mean, if it's mysterious,
some big alien on the moon going, yeah,
make it rain.
take that, Earth. Make it rain. Now, some people said that it was crap from an airliner.
Oh, God.
But that is apparently all myths because it is impossible the way the planes are designed for that stuff to be jettisoned while the planes are in flight. And also, it's colored blue specifically so that if that happened, people would go, oh, yeah, no, that came from a plane because it was blue.
Yeah, because it happened a few times in like the 80s and 90s, that shit.
Yeah, in olden times.
People got shit on from airplanes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was frozen.
And it was a big block of blue
So it would be
ice.
like a frozen shit knife that just goes right through your head.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
That's hard to explain.
That would be a terrible way to die. Like,
Yes, it would.
got hit in the head with a shit rock.
So technically, you would probably not know what hit you. It would be the other people around you that would be like, oh.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, I'd hate to know that.
Immediately.
That'd be going in my obituary. She was hit by a shit rock and died.
Exactly.
Cleaved in twain by a shit rock.
Oh, gosh.
Well, see, that's a way classier way to say that.
That's right. Cleaved in twain is super classy.
Yeah.
Hey there, it's Acadia here, and my partner, Hannah Selector, is going to tell us a little bit about the show we do together.
Do you like horror movies? Stephen King? Ranting and raving? Join us for a meeting of the Castle Rock Historical Society. Tuesdays, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, Mels.
Hey, Jasmine.
You want to tell these lovely people about our show?
Well, I sure do. We're the hosts of the Damn Fine TV podcast,
a weekly show where two TV-loving ladies,
that's us,
bring you fresh insights and fun conversations about all things TV.
The name of our show is a reference to Twin Peaks.
Damn fine coffee.
But we discuss a wide variety of shows, everything from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina to American Horror Story,
Westworld, Umbrella Academy, Lovecraft Country, and tons more.
And now for the obligatory clip segment of the ad.
What even are the tardigrade mysteries?
I need a timeline!
That's getting a trash flag.
Who is in you?
Confused? Better subscribe and listen to the show.
We've got new episodes every Wednesday.
Just search Damn Fine TV wherever you listen to podcasts, and we'll be there.
And come hang out with us on Instagram at Damn Fine TV. We share TV news, celebrities that make us thirsty, and have fun polls.
And if you're watching TV,
make sure it's Damn Fine TV.
Now, according to the story, whether or not it was a coincidence, people who touched the goo got sick. While there's no definitive list, the word dozens was thrown around quite a bit in the research, so I'm going to say that it was dozens, which is anywhere between 24 and the whole population of the town. Some of the goo got sent to microbiologist Mike McDowell at the Washington Department of Health, who said it didn't seem natural.
We found two organisms, Pseudomonas fluorescens and Enterobacter cloacae. And he also said these organisms could lead to severe illness.
And he also said that before he could have someone else double check him, the blob samples he had disappeared.
I came in and the material was not where it was supposed to be. I asked management, what happened to it? And the exact words were, do not ask.
They were blob napped.
Ah!
Blob napped.
Those poor little blobs.
That tickles me.
They miss their mommies.
Tonight on Blob Napped.
If you or anyone you know has been blob napped, please call.
Have you seen these blobs? If you can identify either of these blobs, please call our hotline.
Sorry, that was just a box of Tic Tacs. We're very, very sorry. So, According to a local TV story from 2014, McDowell is now retired from the Department of Health, and they could not reach Lacey the cop for comment. So now things are getting juicy because this whole management, the shady management of the Washington Department of Health, who are hiding things. And things start to cross over themselves like these stories tend to do, especially since all the research comes from basically like 4 websites and like one news story that either fed all the websites that told the story or like stole from the websites to tell the story because they didn't know what the real story was. But we're going to get to the best testimony we've ever had in a case.
Really?
Yep. Well, I mean, best as in somebody attested to it. I don't know if it's true, but so there's a big kerfuffle as to whether or not the blobs had nuclei. According to a piece by Nicole Henley, quote, upon further investigation by the Washington State Department of Ecology's Hazardous Materials Spill Response Unit, which is very different from the Department of Health. These cells from the blobs were also found to have no nuclei. Determined to find answers, nearly a year after her mother's illness, Barclift took a sample of the blob she had stored in her freezer to a private research lab. There, a microbiologist named Tim Davis with Amtest Laboratories studied the sample. Mels, you can be the microbiologist this time.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. I saw what I think was eukaryotic cell, which is basically a cell that has a definable nucleus and is found present in most animals. Okay, so the blobs were alive then?
Well, they might have been. There's a lot of conflicting reports. And I don't mean alive as in they could roll around on the ground until they find you and blob their way up your pee hole. I mean, like bacteria or whatever. So bacteria in your pee hole. And a site called whatever it is, that's where it's going. It feels safe there. And a site called factslegend.org actually interviewed Sonny Barclift. So this is our good evidence. Like super good evidence.
It is my understanding that after the fallout, several people in the community did come down with a flu-like illness that lasted for 4 to 8 weeks in some cases. A couple that stick out in my mind were 2 individuals who had complications associated with kidney infection or kidney involvement, which I think is somewhat unusual. I did not go door to door and interview people as to the state of their health. Mostly the information gleaned was during casual conversations and overhearing statements made by others. I have no idea about what each person's personal diagnosis was.
All right,
just
so
hanging out at Starbucks listening to everybody.
He's dropping.
Oh, I got the shits last night. It was the goo.
He's the guy with that fucking earpiece that they're always advertising. Can't hear in restaurants. Turn it up.
He's also got a very small notebook that he takes out and flips up, and he writes down, okay, shits, goo, question mark?
He also has the little flashlight glasses so that he can read menus in romantic restaurants. So he can see his little notebook.
And a magnifying
glass. That's a little dubious. That's what I mean by it's really good evidence in that the person actually said it, but it's also really bad evidence because she just half-assed the whole thing. I hung around the hospital and it seemed like everybody that came in was sick.
Oh my God.
You think?
The best kind of evidence is anecdotal.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Back to Sonny. Communally, it was thought to be something like the flu. Some individuals, such as my mother, Dottie Hearn, and David Lacey, the police officer had much more acute symptoms. When my mother first found the substance on top of a box on the porch where she stored her wood for burning, she touched the substance with her bare hands. Although David Lacey said he wore gloves, he too became very ill within hours of contact with the substance. We probably would not have noticed them as they would have only appeared as drops of water had my mother not found them on the wood box. She initially thought they were hail. They were not liquid and had mass and were three-dimensional. I became mildly nauseated a week or so after the first fallout. I became acutely ill with severe bronchitis 6 weeks post the initial fallout. My kitten died on or around the third day of the fallout.
Aww.
I know.
That's the saddest part.
That pains me. It has been reported on some websites that the kitten had digestive problems prior to the fallout, but that is not true. Well, I bet you someone definitely tasted it, because there's always some Jackie Torrance who will taste shit they shouldn't taste, and I bet the cop probably licked his glove.
I think that the definitive answer about the cat not having been sick is important. We ought to write that in capital letters in the notebook.
Yeah.
Cat not sick! Exclamation point.
Cat.
Goo, question mark.
No diarrhea.
Cat. Also, she said that some people had like kidney problems and she had bronchitis. So she's just naming symptoms randomly. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I found the goo, and then that night I stayed up till 2 a.m, and then I felt fatigue. Well, yeah, no shit, lady. But speaking of licking gloves, did you know that you can incapacitate Hannah from Castle Rock Historical by talking about someone chewing on their mitten? It's like garlic with a vampire. Like, that's true. Try it. Do it on Twitter. That's Hannah Selector on Twitter, and you can find her at crhistorical.com.
Hey, nice way to crowbar in a plug there for your other show.
Hey, let's lube up a plug with some sky goo and solve this mystery.
So wait a minute. She doesn't like to think about people chewing on gloves?
No, if like the idea of someone sucking on their mitten, like because there was snow on it or whatever, like makes her like fingernails on a chalkboard.
That's pretty disgusting. I can understand that.
Mel's, I say we go on their show and I'll talk about mittens. You talk about toenails, and we'll just have two hosts of that show just grossed out for an hour.
They might spontaneously combust.
That would just be entertainment. Murder.
Have a camera on them.
We can
video it. We can record it.
You'd kill us for the Patreon, huh?
I would do it. Hey, this is America. Anything for a fucking buck.
That would be a special double Patreon. It would be on both.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And Twitch, too, maybe.
When you Twitch.
No. All right.
So, I mean, we have pretty much all the facts that we're going to get on this case. I told you it wasn't going to be like a big super thing. Basically, did goo fall out of the sky? Check. Did a bunch of people see it? Check. Did some of them get sick? Check minus, because they might have just gotten sick unrelated to the goo. Did the kitten die? Sad check.
No.
And was there controversy over whether or not this was organic matter? Check. But, I mean, honestly, if you're a living person and then you pick up the goo and bring it to the lab, like, we're talking about the goo like it was an individual cell. That can't be right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Cells are
it was
small.
some sort of organism. You said it was like the half the size of rice or something?
Right, but couldn't it have come from, it was like half the size, it was the size of half a grain of rice. But if you touch it, you're going to get some of your, that's what CSI is all about. You get your mess on there, and then they test it, and they go, oh, it's human. That was human meat.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, you hope the guy didn't touch it when he collected it.
Well,
right?
She froze it, and that would break the cells.
Well, that would fuck it all up, yeah.
That's why freezing your body won't work.
Yeah, well, you have to freeze it at a certain, you can't go lower than a certain temperature. You have to keep it like right at freezing, or else all the cell walls collapse.
Well, don't they have somebody's head frozen somewhere?
Ted Williams' head frozen.
Yeah, that was a whole fight with his kids. The Disney thing is actually a myth. That he's not frozen.
I was thinking of Ted Williams. I knew it was baseball related. He's a baseball player, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, his family was in a big fight over the right to freeze his head.
You
Like he
gotta
was gonna-
fight for your
like-
right to
When I worked at a
Freeze heads.
when I worked at a deli when I was in high school and college, there was a guy that used to come and he was this crazy old man, this little German guy. He wore like a World War I German army helmet as a motorcycle helmet.
Nice.
The kind with the big spike on the top?
Yeah, yeah. And he used to
Wow.
come and he'd be like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah." But he was actually a whatever it is. Cryologist,
Cryogenic?
cryogenicist, and he froze his wife.
Cryogeneticist.
There you go. And my boss at the deli had actually seen the video he had made freezing his own wife when she died.
Wait a minute. In his deep freezer?
No, well, he really did that stuff. He was really smart. He was super crazy. He never went to. He was like one of those people that never went to college but read everything. Like his father called him a piece of shit. Told him he was never going to amount to anything. He went and took the New York bar exam just for kicks and passed it. Just to throw this piece of paper at his father and say, "Fuck you, I can be whatever I want. I just don't feel like doing that shit."
Oh, so he froze his wife instead,
He ended
huh?
up freezing his wife now, yeah. I don't know whatever happened.
Or he was
to
just
them.
a crazy guy that made up a bunch of lies and went. Meh, 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 meh.
Well,
Yeah.
he showed me, my boss saw the videotape. I never saw it. So I can't.
Boy, I bet that's the kind of thing that would show up on Rotten.com back in the day.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I could never go there. I'm too much of a sissy.
Oh, I would never
I don't
go
like
on
the-
there.
No, we'll just talk about it abstractly. That's why this is a podcast and not a video show.
Exactly.
So back to the goo. I'm sorry that I have to keep dragging everybody back into the goo, but we need to solve it.
Are we solving it? Are we really solving it? Or is this like one of those TLC shows in search of the giant squid and we watch for 4 hours and they never find a fucking
At
squid?
the end, they go, "There's no such thing as giant squid."
Oh, well, we didn't find him this time, but watch for the next 4-hour fucking special. I must have been fucked. But look they have that Oak Island, the Curse of Oak Island thing is on like 10 seasons and they haven't found fucking shit.
Yeah, no. They found a Templar
paying for
coin.
this stuff. And all the Bigfoot shows? How many Bigfoot shows are there now?
Hey, Bigfoot exists.
That's right.
Oh, of course he does.
He has a lot of fanfic out there. Some
I
really
hear he's
hot,
dating the
hot,
Loch Ness
heavy
Monster.
stuff. Yeah, hot and heavy stuff. I like to read it.
I bet you're on some subreddit. I bet all y'all have secret Reddit names.
I
I'm
don't keep
not on
mine a
Reddit.
secret. I don't keep mine a secret.
I don't care. I'll wave my Bigfoot flag.
I wave that Bigfoot flag very proud.
So, I mean, I guess we're just going to say that we believe that Goo fell. I mean, this was documented.
I honestly don't even know what it could be, but do I think that it was making people sick? I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know.
You know,
Yeah, I don't think there's enough examples. They never figured out the origin of it or anything. Like there was no factories around there that were fucked up or anything like that. Not that anybody ever looks into that stuff, but
nope. And there were no like government bombers flying around or anything like that.
no water balloons were sighted.
No, but there was one site that talked about how like, oh, maybe they were trying to like see if they could make people sick with something that dropped out of the sky, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like
like a government
black helicopter
experiment.
shit. Yeah. Which to me, it feels like, you know, when you get something in the mail, like a perfume sample thing, and it's got that glue stuff.
Right.
That you can peel off the paper.
Yeah.
I think it was like that. I mean, I don't think that's what it was, but I bet that's what it felt like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
You know what I mean?
that's gooey. Yeah.
And if you get one of those things, you're fucking taking it off because it's very satisfying.
Yeah, it is. I love to peel that glue off and just roll it into like a tiny little booger almost, and just like
exactly
move it around and around.
Here's a little life hack: take those perfume things and put them in your sock drawer.
Oh, well, your feet smell that bad that you need perfume in your sock drawer?
Like,
I didn't say put them in the laundry.
The smell fresh anyway because they just came out of the laundry.
No wonder you hate toenails and
feet. Are you putting dirty
much.
socks back in the drawer?
Oh, yours are so rank that you just have an aversion to it.
Okay, number one. No.
Number one.
Number two, I don't fucking remember the last time I wore socks. Oh no, wait. You know what it was? It was I was out working in the yard. So it was at some point this summer, but not recent.
Ugh. Yeah, I can't remember when I last wore socks.
I hate socks. Well,
I guess, folks, that's it for our case. I mean, I really picked it off the list because it was Oakville Blobs. that was really my entire idea behind it. And then once I had gotten deep enough in to find out that it was very shallow, it was too late. So this is what we get.
Yeah, it'll still be like 40 minutes. Well, why don't we put in 8 or 10 promos?
Yeah, we'll just drag it out.
Let's do a promo for those people that don't like us, because that was like 3 minutes.
Oh, the 3-minute promo for the people that didn't use us because we were not safe for work? Yes. Fuckers. Meatballs.
Hey.
Tell people where to find us so that they can bitch about how short this episode was.
Well, if you want to get in touch with me, Shuey, on Twitter or Instagram, I can be reached at Shuey Time. If you want to get Acadia on Twitter, he's at Acadia. On Instagram, he's at Acadia Einstein. And on Twitch, he's Senator Acadia.
That's right. We play trivia on Fridays.
And if you want to get in touch with Mel's on Twitter, she's MelsBells84. And on Instagram, she's Superficial Mels. And if you'd like to just reach out to the show, and I don't think anybody actually pays attention to it, so I'm just kidding. It is at Changeful Pod.
Wow.
So feel free to reach out to us at any of those places, and you will be pleasantly surprised by the responses.
From me.
Yeah.
Everyone else is too important.
Wow.
I'm the only one.
If you don't want to do that, you can always rate and review us wherever you listen to the podcast at. And I mean, we prefer nice ratings, not ratings like trash or rubbish.
Doing our research. Watch, we're going to get the fucking Oakville 7 coming out of the woodwork telling us
please, all we ask for people when thinking about reviews is remember the show you're listening to.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Remember the point of the show, right?
Oh, Christ almighty. That lady went up one side and down the other, yelling at me. Profanity, really?
While we do research and try to be as accurate as ever, we do not have an editorial department, so there may be errors. So don't use this for your papers.
Yeah. Yes. Use this for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly.
Jesus.
My professor said you were inaccurate.
Yeah, I know, right?
My mama said.
Yeah.
Because all the mamas are the professors right now.
That's right.
That's true. So you can also get a hold of Mel's by going to the Damn Fine TV podcast. And I guess not really get a hold of her, just listen to her talk.
Yeah.
Because she's on that show. And you can find me at crhistorical.com. And you're talking about Lovecraft Country too, right, Mels?
Yeah, I mean, we're not doing like super deep dives on it. We're just having fun with it. But we talk about just TV in general. So,
Roger.
Lots of fun.
And then you can find Chewy in his basement.
Yeah, I'm in my basement.
You can find
just
me
hanging out
in the basement.
And if you want to support us in a financial way, did that sound sexy?
Yeah.
Are you looking for another sugar daddy?
No, I'm starting to rev up my OnlyFans, and I've got to be able to market it wider. Anyway, you can be a patron by going to patreon.com/strangeful, and you can be like Tony. Hey, Tony, thanks for becoming a patron.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Fucking A, right. So, yeah, that's what we got going.
Yeah. Just always remember to count your blessings and hope that the goo doesn't fall from the sky.
At least not into your mouth.
Oh, keep on flapping to keep it away.
Yeah.
That means so much more to me now. Bye-bye.